Welcome to Positive Talk Radio. We're glad you're here. I'm Kevin McDonald, your host for this grand adventure, and I thank you for joining us. You see, our mission is to create a positive, personal connection to all things with courage and love. We invite terrific guests, interesting topics, and great conversation, all in a fun, entertaining way. And we always manage to learn something, too. So I hope you will stay right where you are for this episode of Positive Talk Radio. I was so busy enjoying the opening that I forgot to bring you back, Tommy. I'm sorry.
It's all right. I was wondering what happened.
Yeah, I was having too fine of a time. This is an unusual show because we are doing both Positive Talk and we are also doing Think Energy because well, first of all, I gotta say, Tommy Tikka is with us. He is a singer-songwriter of note. We're going to play a couple of his songs during the course of this hour, and we're also going to talk about some of the influences that he has and where he gets some of his music from, which is why he's on Think Energy, because he's got some stories to tell, and I'm excited about that. And also, you know, I got to ask you, first of all, being a singer-songwriter of note, performing in front of a lot of people, selling great music and the songs that you've written. And when we talked earlier today, you were also being a short order cook. And
yeah, I was cooking for my kids.
all
all six of them. Yeah, that's I'm the cook of the house. That's what I do. You know, and like I already said, you know, it's like, when we do chicken, we do 2 kilos of it, you know, and
when they
that's
eat,
what is that, like 4 pounds, I think.
Yeah. Well, when kids eat, they got to eat.
And yeah, and these ones do.
Teenage boys are something, and that's true. Now Kayla has listened to the show before, and speaking of which, now you don't have Thanksgiving over there, do you?
No, but we'll no, Finns don't celebrate it. But I mean, obviously, me having not just grown up but lived extensively in the States, we do celebrate it. I speak English to the kids, and but we don't. You know, that was yesterday,
right?
And so, because the world doesn't stop here.
No,
you know, everybody's got to get up and go to work at 6 o'clock in the morning. And so if you know, have a great Thanksgiving dinner, a little, like 5 bottles of wine, you ain't going anywhere, you know. And so we're just kind of doing it tomorrow.
Very cool.
You know, just I want to introduce the traditional foods and to the kids, and so that they kind of know what it's all about, because you don't get that here at all. And you know, the older ones obviously already know and remember, but then the 4-year-old doesn't understand anything. He's just, you know, I talked about the Indians and the Native Americans and the Pilgrims, and he doesn't have any idea what's going on. It's just like, they're looked at me with these huge eyes, like, they're not gonna eat me, are they? I'm like, no, that's not what Thanksgiving is about. You know, it's a nice, friendly holiday.
Oh yeah, and now you're gonna do a turkey tomorrow?
Yeah, I will.
Awesome. Yeah. Now, you don't put stuffing in the bird, do you?
Well, not tomorrow, no, because I'm not going to make the whole big. I mean, obviously, I've cooked it that way, you know, way back when, but I'm kind of the two older ones. They eat a lot. And you know, we'd probably be able to, you know, kill the bird, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But then you know, for whatever leftovers we're gonna have, the older kids are gonna go back to their mom on Sunday, and there's only so much turkey one can eat, you know. And so I don't want to be eating turkey the whole next week, because these, you know, if I was really doing it, because it's so rare here, they have these huge birds, And just for me to cook one of those would be eating that on Wednesday still. It's like Thanksgiving never ends. Christmas is canceled, right?
I just save it for
Still eating the same turkey.
That's right. But now, you guys, do you have Black Friday, which is what today
Yeah,
is?
we do nowadays. I mean, these are all things that when I was a kid, and they didn't exist in Finland at all. I mean, obviously, whenever we came over here for holiday and just talk about Black Friday, nobody had any idea what that was. But in the course of 25, some 30 years, um, all of these things have now found their way here, but they're not really traditional things. And so people, like for example, Halloween, people do celebrate it here, but they celebrate it wrong because it's kind of like it's imported, if you know what I mean.
Oh yeah.
And only parts of it, right? We actually the Finns do Halloween type of stuff at Easter.
Huh?
Yeah, kids go trick or treating then.
That's interesting. Why?
Yeah, but I don't know it, but it's a pagan feast, you see. And even though this is obviously it's a Christian country, but some traditions go beyond that, and so kids dress up as witches. You don't. The costumes are always going to be just witches and demons, because those were the things that ancient Finns would either be scared of or kind of worship in a very odd way. And then they go behind people's doors and basically tell them that they'll put a spell on folks if they don't give them candy. It's very friendly.
Yeah.
It's just like people disappear, but we can contain this.
That's all right. Everybody is different, and the history of that country goes way. I mean, we're talking the United States like 300 years. You're talking thousands of years.
Yeah. In Europe, you always get that. It's kind of weird when you go to Paris, and if you take a tour, somebody's going to say this hospital dates back to 1200, or something's 1,000 years old, and you're looking at the hospital, I think like, what, because even in Finland, you don't, it's got some buildings 500 years, 600 years old, but you go to France and south of Europe, and man, I mean, you go to the Colosseum, which is a spectacular place, by the way, and you get the sense of how long ago, these things happened, and they're still, all these buildings, they're still standing in ruins, some of them, granted, but they're still there.
It really is amazing. By the way, how far is Finland from England?
It's really difficult. I'm very bad at geography, to be honest with you, but if you get on a plane, it's 2.5 hours.
Oh, but you could
It's
drive
like 2.5, 3 hours, yeah, by plane.
You could actually drive that. See, my son
I mean, you'd basically Finland's kind of, you can drive there, but what you'd probably do if you went by car is like you take a ferry to Germany, and then drive from Germany to France, and then take the channel. The train, right? The train that and go under the English Channel and just then go to England. Yeah, but that would obviously a couple of days on, or one night on the ferry, a couple of days driving to France or to the port.
Well, and the other thing is, I'm my son. The reason I bring that up is my son is in the Air Force, and he's just been transferred to England. So there will be a time, and it's just like an hour south of London is where he'll be, and there'll be a time when I have to go over there to visit him. And I was just kind of curious how long that would take to go from to get up to where you are, because that would be fun to meet you up there. And of course,
it'd be awesome. Yeah,
I have to go to Liverpool and do
oh man, yeah. You do have to do all that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And hey, who knows? Maybe I'll meet you in France.
Hey, there you go. We can have a bottle of
Yeah.
wine or two.
Oh yeah, like yeah, or two. A few bottles of wine. The definition of few being 0 to 99. That's right.
Exactly. We can have a 6-pack of wine. No, wait.
Yeah.
This is wrong thing there. But Germany's got some great beers and France has got some great wine, so we can.
Oh
and,
yeah, yeah. It's
and they're right next
magnificent
to each other.
places.
So
Yeah, they
so
are.
very good. Now, the last time we talked, and I'm glad Kayla May is listening because she is one of my psychic friends, and she's
Oh, cool.
at one point going to be on Think Energy. As a matter of fact, we have a gal by the name of Mary Beckman who's going to be on at 1:00 today, who is an extraordinary psychic medium. And we're going to talk to her about her new books and what she's got going on. But you have to tell the story of one of the songs you wrote and the night that you saw your dad. And ladies and gentlemen, you need to stay tuned with this. This is really cool.
Well, yeah, it was actually one of the weirdest experiences of my life, and what it ended up being one of the scariest as well. Like I already mentioned, I mean, my grandma when I was growing up was very religious, but she was also very superstitious and talked about demons and witchcraft and having being partially gypsy. I Yeah, so anyway, that's how the whole album, This Is My Happy Face, actually, that's the story behind the album. um so anyways, my dad passed away a couple of years ago, and we had a very good relationship, but we were very much alike, and fought a lot at one point, especially when I was in my late teens, and so there was all sorts of unresolved basically unresolved crap when he died. And we never really got to truly talk about a lot of the issues because he got diagnosed with cancer, and the cancer went away, and it was supposed to all be great, but then it came back and just took him just like that.
Oh,
And
man.
so there was no, yeah, and so it was awful, and there was no time really to accept, that to say I love yous and all those things. And it was particularly bad for me because I felt that I should have reached out, when he was still here. And about 6 months after he had passed, um, I I had a dream where, like, I usually wake up in the middle of the night because one of the kids are gonna wake me up, or I get up and get a drink or go to the bathroom, whatever. I really don't usually even sleep through the whole night, only a couple of times a year. So this felt very real. So I get up, and decide that, I'm thirsty, and I'm heading to the kitchen. And as I'm going to the kitchen, the way my house is set, you have to go through the living room. And I'm approaching the living room, and I notice that there's somebody sitting on the couch, and it's my dad. And he signals me to, come over, and then kind of stands up and, and just says, "Hi, Tom." And, just sit down. And I sit down, and we start talking about stuff. First we talked about, you know, how sick he had been, and oddly enough, we talked about his death, which was weird because at that point, I kind of realized it's a dream.
Mm-hmm.
But we continue, and then talked a lot about my childhood, and he used to have this habit of smoking inside. All of us hated that, because we really didn't want his cigarettes around, especially on Friday night. It's cold in Finland. You can't even have the windows open. And this guy was smoking like a chimney, and we hated the cigarette smoke. And we always, well, in lack of a better term, bitched about that. And my dad would always say that you guys are terrorists. I'm not putting, I'm smoking. That's the end of it. And that was just one of the, not an issue, but there were issues that I don't want to get into here, but serious issues between us. And we talked and talked. It felt like hours, and really got closure on a lot of these things. And he explained why he had behaved the way he had behaved, and I sort of apologized and explained that, this is why this sort of particular thing was very difficult for me, and kind of joked around as we always did, had a laugh. We listened to music even, which definitely means it was a dream because the entire family would have been up. Um, and then all of a sudden he said that, Tom, I don't have time to explain, but you got to wake up. And I said, I got to go. I said, yeah, you got to go. And he's smoking is weird. But, I didn't say anything because I was just so happy talking to him. And it's just like, yeah, you got to go. You got to go now. Come here. And we stood up, we hugged. And he's, because he was hugging him, his cigarette touched my neck round about here, and it burned and hurt, but I didn't say anything. And he apologized, and I said, really doesn't matter. It's true, I hate you cigarettes, but all that matters is that we got to have this time together. And I just, went back to bed. Never got that drink, by the way, that I was gonna get. Yeah, drink of water, and went back to bed, fell asleep, and I woke up in the morning, and I even just as I got out of bed, I always get up first. My wife stayed in bed, and I told her. She said, like, good morning. I said, I had the weirdest dream. My dad was in the dream. Man. And went to the kitchen, started preparing breakfast, fed the kids, what have you. And right before we went, I thought that, I better go look in the mirror and see that I don't look hideous, because, taking the kids to the daycare, right? And looked in the mirror, and I saw a red spot right about here, exactly where his cigarette had touched. And I'm like, what the, and, doing this and touching it. And you could tell that who's ever had a cigarette burn knows exactly what they feel like. And it sure felt like that. I stood there for the longest time looking in the mirror, just trying to wrap my head around the fact that when I went to bed the night before, I didn't have that. Then I had the dream. I wake up in the morning. It's there. I mean, obviously, it is possible that people do weird things in their sleep. And I'm sure there's always a logical explanation for everything. But it really, really kind of rattled me a bit, to be honest with you. Very difficult. It was very difficult to go to bed that night thinking that, that happened last night. What's going to happen now? Who am I going to meet? Because even though it was great, if you get a sense of the fact that there's something else out there, that this reality that we perceive to be the only real reality, if there is a counter one, or parallel one, spirit world, where you can enter in your dreams, or if it just the thought of it being there, I was very difficult. And then after a while, I started reading about it, about these dreams and people having these dreams. Started watching documentaries. There was a particular series on Netflix that was about life after death, and watched it, kind of devoured it, to be honest with you. And well, then little by little, I I was talking about, we knew, Michael and I, my label head, that I was going to make a solo album, and I was thinking about what songs would be in on that album, and what the point behind it would be. And he said that, that dream you told me about, that how about if you go down that road, that because it's very interesting, that I had a song called Bullet in the Head, and he said that we'll start with that, and that can be, what if that's the start of the album, and that's the suicide of the protagonist, and we'll just take it from there. And so that's how the album was born. And obviously very part of the album, but I keep going back to the dream, not just every once in a while, but on regular basis. It was eerie. There was something unsettling about the whole thing. I can't explain. It wasn't exactly, my dad was very normal, and I felt very safe with him. But there was something in that moment, the way the room looked, and just it just felt strange, and it felt like, especially when he started saying that you gotta go, but you gotta wake up. That was, I never got an explanation as to why, what was happening, what would have happened if I had not. And it's the dream nothing like that. There hasn't been another dream Okay, it's just that was just one off. But I've always felt every once in a while, growing up, I've always I don't know if it's my grandma's influence, but I get these feelings that I sense stuff. I see stuff out of the corner of my eye, and then some movement. Every once in a while, I've throughout my entire life, I've heard somebody call my name, and I ask everybody who was present that did somebody call my name, and it was like, no. Could be they're messing with me, obviously, but I very much doubt that because it's been a reoccurring thing.
Mm-hmm.
And my grandma always claimed that she can sense these things. I haven't really, this is the part that I really don't think about a lot because this is the part that scares the hell out of me. But I've always it's a really weird sensation when you go somewhere and you feel that there's something unsettling on, and sometimes you feel that there's something, everything's fine, but yeah, that was the dream, and that's, like I said, one off, but the weirdest thing that ever happened to me.
It was a one-off, but it wasn't. Now, by the way, your wife also verified. Then didn't you point that out? The neck out? To her?
Yeah, I did, and she she doesn't believe in this stuff, and so she said that you must have somehow, But I said, but check it out, because I had to take a picture of it with my phone because it's really difficult to get it. But it was very, it just looked too close to what the real thing would look like for me to just brush it off as something that I did to myself in my sleep. No. I still fear. Just talking about it now, I still feel it's weird. There was something strange about that whole thing.
Well, from my perspective, from what that was your dad, when he got to the other side, he realized and part of his growth process was that he left things incomplete with you. And he didn't want it to stay incomplete because it would affect you while you're still here.
Yeah, probably.
And so he wanted to touch bases on it, and just because he wanted closure, and he wanted to give you closure. Now, this is my friend Kayla May. Let's see what she has to say. It was a real visit from your father. He knew you felt awful about not saying goodbye, so he worked his magic to come and fix the wrong. You're also an empath, so maybe reading up on it will help settle your mind with your abilities. So,
yeah.
And I, in my humble opinion, I think that most really good songwriters they're picking a lot of stuff up from elsewhere, and they are an empath. And because there are things that you write that you didn't know you were going to write, and then all of a sudden it shows up.
It's the weirdest thing about songwriting. I've always considered it kind of like magic, because all at one point there's nothing on a piece of paper, or a song doesn't exist, and it's kind of like pulling a rabbit out of your hat. Then, and even with songs, it's weird though, because I've gone on record saying that I write a song a day, and I do. Not all of them are good, but it's weird because the ones that are very, very good, I always felt that they were given to me. This is another thing I can't really explain. It's because when I, for example, when I wrote Hearts on Fire or Doormat, it's almost like these songs, the ones that aren't given to you, kind of work very hard at, and then at the end of the day, you're not that, you're not crazy about the tune. It's kind of weird. But then sometimes you get this sense that, you gotta get my guitar, and usually it's not even a convenient time. But the song that you write, you write it real quick, even as if it's already been written. You see, this is the weird thing. It's almost like it's already been written, and it's just, you're just an instrument.
I believe that.
And so I always felt that, I've said once before somewhere that, those are the songs that God writes, the rest of the crap is mine, so um, but yeah, that's another weird feeling because it writing a song that's actually very very good, and it's always easy. It comes easily. It's you know where to go. Whereas then with most of the tracks, you just have no idea.
And because it's easy, don't you feel at the end of writing it, it's a little bit of therapy? It's like it's therapeutic for
Absolutely.
you. And
Yeah, it is. It is. I should probably sit down more, and I don't know why. Yeah, I should sit down. I should sit down, pick up my guitar, and write a happy song. When I'm really, really happy and just incredibly psyched about stuff. But for some reason, the way the therapy works for me is that I go through a rough patch, or I'm going through a rough patch, or uh, just something that really saddens or upsets me, and then I sit down and then I write, and then it's almost like it's given. Those songs are given to me as consolation prizes in a way that that you lost in life. Now this thing was taken away from you, or somebody treated you real shitty. Sorry, I probably shouldn't use that word, but
no, you're good. You're good.
and then somebody says that, but look, I know you're down in the dumps, but here's Hearts on Fire. You get to sing it, and that so it for me, I might be wrong, but I really feels like that.
No, I don't think you're wrong at all. I think that a couple things. I think the other side is comforting you at the same time that you're writing the song. They're bringing that to you to make you feel better because they recognize that it's been hurtful, whatever it
Yeah,
was. And a lot of a lot of your songs and your music is about relationships and when they fail
sure. Yeah,
and because they a lot of relationships do fail, and then it can be
sadly they do. Yeah.
and but like Hearts on Fire, I had that up and I got to put it up again because I listened to that song, and there's also the other one that I really love. um
Was
yeah,
it Doormat?
yeah, it might have been
Yeah, it's the bluesy one.
yes. And I would listen to those before I did a podcast, and what they did for me was they lightened my mood, whatever mood I happened to be in,
Cool.
and made
Okay,
it.
then I've managed to do something that I've always wanted to do with music. Then I just
It's cool the way that because it uplifts my soul, and so it really does, Tommy.
thanks,
And
man.
I really appreciate it. I really appreciate what you do. As a matter of fact, we appreciate it so much. We should probably play something, don't you think?
Yeah, is this the moment where we're gonna listen
This
to by 2022? All right.
tell it to you. This would be the moment because we're already, we're already 30 minutes in, and it's
Oh,
amazing
right.
how time flies when I'm having fun talking to you. But so let's talk about 2022.
Well, yeah, I've never written a song to the new year or New Year's track. I'm not, I have that one Christmas tune that I wrote ages ago and I put it out last year. And then somebody was asking, just do another Christmas tune, and I'm like, no, they can only be one for rock art. That's it. That's it. That's your contribution, because you don't want to. It's kind of like a little bit cheesy to go back every year. And here's a new Christmas tune, and here's a new Halloween tune, and there's a Thanksgiving tune called Turkey, and so I wrote a song. I thought that'd be kind of cool to dress the song up as a relationship song, but really be singing to the year 2022. Just kind of like you feel that, or you felt that maybe 2021 wasn't all that you thought it might be, and you're kind of saying to 2022 that not just that please be better, but like I don't trust you, that you're claiming that you're better, but maybe you're not. I got to take a step back here because I'm not sure that I'm going down the right road, and so that's really what the song is about. It just really isn't about anything else. It's just me serenading to 2022.
Well, we're hopeful that 2022 is going to be better than 20 was and 21 was.
Well, isn't that the great thing about New Year's, in a way, you kind of wrap up the old one and you have a clean slate.
Yep.
And regardless of what's happened, you just like, full of 2022 be, or whatever year be, the new year's full of possibilities. And you have no idea what's going to happen. Sometimes, of course, awful things are going to happen, but we tend to think that, oh man, new year is going to be great. And so that's part of the song too.
Yeah, it's like the beginning of baseball season or the beginning of football season.
Anything's possible. Yeah, right.
Eternal optimist. We're going to do great this year, and then they screw up, and then it's the end of that. But it's like the new year. That's why health clubs always do really well in January. By the time everybody joins, because they're going to do so.
Come mid-February, Valentine's Day, you get boxes of chocolate. It's over. Yeah, it's weird. It's weird. It's the same thing, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And by the way, this song is being released in about 6 days.
Yeah. December 3rd. Yeah.
December 3rd. So it'll be everywhere on December 3rd, but he's going to let us play it prior to, because we're cool. And he's really,
absolutely, man.
It really is dynamite that you come and talk to me, because it really is a lot of fun. And so
man, pleasure's all mine.
So we're going to play this one right now, and I'm going to come to Finland to see you, I think.
Hey, dude.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Absolutely. So this is Tommi Tikka, and the name of the song is By 2022. And that is Tom Tikka and by 2022. I love that song. I love how you put everything, the melody together, and the middle eights are. I'm learning all this stuff from you, by the way.
Thanks. It's one of my better ones. I think that really listening to it now. I haven't for a while. Yeah, it's a good track.
It's going to do well.
I'm hoping so. Yeah, I'm hoping so.
Now, these days, and I'm really not sure, but when you set a release date, where does it get released to? Is that when it hits Spotify and all that stuff?
Yeah, all the streaming platforms. That's how it works. It's kind of weird because in the olden times, we'd be thinking in terms of stores. Right. Tower Records would put it up, right?
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, think about it. And they're all gone. Yeah.
Yeah. That's so now it's all the online stuff and you hope to be able to make a little bit of money from it, maybe.
Always hoping, and I do make a little bit, but want to stress the word little here.
Well, but you've had like top of the charts, and you've done really well. Your music is awesome. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't figured that out yet, he does all the vocals, all the instruments, all the writing, and produces it. He's got a producer that works with him, but he does most of all of this stuff from the upstairs of your house, right?
Yeah. That's right.
So,
yeah, it's good.
It's amazing.
Studio there. Yeah.
It's amazing.
Thanks. It's a nice way to record when you've got 6 kids and you're a family man, and you just kind of disappear upstairs every once in a while to make music, or usually I do it actually after the kids have gone to bed because it's pretty soundproof here, and that way I really doesn't take time away from my family.
That's awesome.
And I still get stuff done.
Exactly. Now, do you make enough to? Are you kind of semi-retired? Do you have another? Do you have to have a day job, or can you make enough?
I'm semi-retired. Yeah. So I got to have a day job. I think if I were to tour and really take this up again, it'd be fine. But perhaps not enough to provide for 6 children. Because, if the younger one's 4 right now and the oldest one is 18, the amount of years that you need to have a steady income and the insurances and everything, it just doesn't really fit into the life of a musician unless you're Steven Tyler. Whose music I love. I absolutely love. But yeah, maybe that answers your question. I don't know.
But even so, if you are a traveling musician, you got 6 kids at home, you can't do both at the same time.
That's right.
Unless you're like Paul McCartney and you have your own jet, and so you can go.
Yeah, they did it with style, didn't they? Yeah,
they did. But if you can do it but how many of them are there? There's only one of him. So
yeah.
So but to be to be playing 3 or 4 gigs a week and to be moving your stuff and that would be logistically it'd be a nightmare. But it also you wouldn't be able to. Your 4-year-old would you'd have to introduce yourself to him every time you came home.
Yeah, and hence just doing this from home and releasing it. One has to be, and I really did get to experience all that when I was younger, dude. So I don't. You also it's like, yeah, I think that I do have my priorities straight, but I also want to point out that in my case, I've lived through that, and it's not anything that I want to repeat. It was great, and there are moments that I really miss, but even those moments, pale in comparison to the time that I spend with my family. I've always been. I come from a very close family myself, and so that's really who I am first and foremost, a husband and a father. And anybody, people say these things all the time, and then whatever the truth is. But if you talk to, if just randomly talk to my wife or anybody who knows me, they'd actually say the same thing.
Well, that's because you got your priorities straight. And
yeah, I suppose.
Well, but and when you and your brother were out and you were touring and you were doing all that, and you were You're good looking, man. So I imagine you didn't have any
Hey, thanks,
problem getting company to be
man.
around you.
Yeah, well, that was never a problem. But then again, when you're young, the whole scene is so different,
Yeah.
and when you're playing guitar up on stage. But you know, the just if anybody's listening, it just one thing that usually doesn't get mentioned is that you do get a lot of attention, but usually it's from the people that you don't want the attention from. I think you can make it sound very sexy and, just appear like, this super cool, rock star. But reality of the situation is that a lot of people that then who are into you, then perhaps aren't really either the people you should be hanging out with, or just maybe they're just people you're not that interested in. So it just it's a sad fact. But of course, when you're on the road or when you're in the studio and when you're doing all these things, it's a different life.
Which part you like the writing of the song and putting them together? That's really what you enjoy doing, right?
Yeah, I enjoy the studio. I always have. I there are people who much prefer playing live. I think it's I do too. Don't get me, I don't, because it's such a magical moment, the interaction and just, having, for example, an audience who knows your songs and it's that there's something very disarming about that. And thank God for them, because otherwise you wouldn't be anything.
Right.
Really, truly. And but yeah, my preference has always been to record and just to hone my craft. And so that's where I'm the happiest anyway, writing and recording.
You do an awesome job at all of that, and it's like we were saying, I truly believe that you have a gift that somebody gave it to you from, maybe it was your grandmother, because you have a little bit of that psychic gift yourself, because you're
If it was her, then thanks. It's because with that also came the ability to enjoy music, and obviously I like all kinds of music, classical, you know and then today I was listening to Merle Haggard, because I love country as well, very selectively. I think he's one of the he's the best country artist. He's the Beatles of country music. And this is going to be very clear to anybody who listens to, for example, the album It's All in the Movies, and you hear the strings and the jazz influence. And but anyway, long story short, I love music, period. I just love listening to it ever since I was a young kid. And so I think, it's a wonderful, it's been a wonderful gift. It really has.
What's really cool about what you do, and what a lot of people that get to talk to do, and the shows that I'm able to put together, are that we have the ability, you and I sitting here have the ability to impact somebody's life who will never meet. You do that with your music all the time. People buy your songs, they listen to them, they take them to heart. You'll never meet them, but they have an impact on their life, and that's why you're here, is to have a positive impact on people's lives. That's why you
Yeah,
do what you do.
you're right. One of the I got an email. I don't want to lie. Feels like a year ago, but in reality, it was probably in the spring. And this this woman who just got married sent me a picture of a wedding photo, and I said that they were dancing to the Impersonators, or You Are the One, which I thought was super cool, because I just really never thought that anybody would, get married and just play one of my songs. And I felt really honored by that.
Yeah.
And the fact that, you know, they got so much out of something that I wrote in my living room that, it's really great. It felt very rewarding.
Well, and there are, I'm convinced that that forgive me, but on the other side, that the music is a great big part of what happens over there, and I think that they are giving us the gift, and they're giving us people with the gift to be able to translate what they're doing up there to bring it down here, and to give us a taste of it.
Well,
And
I love that thought. I love that thought. Yeah.
the type of music that you do, and really, most artists, there's a certain group that I'm not real fond of, if they use a lot of negatives and about hate and kill and anyway.
Mm.
But the positive guys like you really have an impact on people's lives. And that lady's, she had probably listened to that song, a couple hundred times, and they thought so much of it that they wanted to have it in their wedding.
Yeah, I
Uh,
mean, yeah, it just blew my mind. It was just, what an honor. And the reason why I keep doing what I'm doing. Really, if I can just always say that for me, it doesn't matter if the audience is small or big, but if there is an audience that, nods their heads to what I'm doing, then that's all. That's the business for me.
yeah,
You know.
I know, and I get it, because well, the same thing kind of happened to me today. This is kind of a funny story. I told you that last week, and if you are listening to this, if you go back through the archives, you'll catch the episode that I did with the lady who is an advocate for the clitoris, because she had
Yeah.
she had
You told me
surgery.
about this. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, she had surgery, and the doctor, she, first of all, she felt like her private parts were abnormal looking. And so she
Okay.
wanted to have what they call a labiaplasty. Labia. Anyway, they call
Anyway, yeah.
it, yeah. And I don't have one, so I don't pronounce it right.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that, while you appreciate one, you really don't know what she was talking about, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, but I get a comment today saying, "Thanks, I needed that," because she just listened to that episode. I wasn't sure what she got out of it, but the part of
With
it
the
was,
there you go. Yeah.
yeah, you,
That's
you,
it,
you-
isn't it?
yeah, that's the whole reason to do. It's the whole reason why having you on is important. I'll have you on. I could have you on every month, and it would be, or every week. You want to co-host with me? Come on, we'll do this.
Yeah. Hey, we should do it because I mean, man, I love talking to you. I told you in the summer. Remember that one time we did this? I said at the end of the episode that you and I should just sort of have the stream yard. We don't even have to broadcast it anywhere. Just have a couple of beers while we're talking, and it'll be great. And so, yeah, I'm not going to say no, man. I mean, if whatever you throw my way, and I get a chance to chat with you, you can come in.
You bet. Well, as a matter of fact, I've got like 7 of your songs are like the one that we just played, by 2022, and I've got them, and I'm going to line them up, and just play it, because the technology that I have now, I can just line up stuff and just play it on an ongoing basis. So I've got like 6 or 7 or 8 songs that are all video, and I'm just going to play them back to back to back to back to back to back, if that's all right with you.
Yeah, that sounds great, man. I gotta tell you, I gotta tell you something funny that happened to me a few days ago because Christmas is coming. I mean,
Yeah.
we all know this. And children write to Santa Claus.
Yeah.
We've got those letters. And my boys have, the 2 younger ones, especially the 4-year-old, has gotten it into his head that rather than write, because he really doesn't know how to write yet, he can just take these catalogs that they send home every Christmas, filled with toys and stuff,
Uh-huh.
and circle everything that he wants. And he started doing that. At first he said that, look, Dad, I think we're gonna have to get rid of some of the older stuff because it's like every page, like he thought he was getting all the toys. And I said that, you're not gonna get everything. That Santa's gonna take a look at the catalog and probably try to figure out with his helpers that, if you need something more than one toy more than another and all that stuff. And then I, flipped over a couple of pages, and there was a little girl playing with dolls, and the dolls had not been circled, but the little girl was circled.
Oh boy, you know,
Oh, exactly. No, this dude, man, he's 4, but he's already like smiling to, women, older women, and women in their 20s, and he can wander over and say that, "Hi, I'm Henry." Because I've had this happen. We've gone to the store, maybe there's a cute girl working at the register, and Henry's with me, and he's 4, mind you, 4.5, as he says. And he walks, this one particular girl, he walked up to her, just like went round the register, and she's like, "What's happening?" And Henry's right in front of her, and he's saying, "Hi, what's your name?" "I'm Henry." And I'm like, "That's, yeah." I said, "I'm sorry about that." And she kind of looked at him and said that, "Henry, you're real cute." And Henry looked at her and said, "I am, aren't I?" He's impossible. So anyway, he circles this little girl, and I said to her, I had said to him that, I'm sure that, we can't, Santa can't bring people, that they would suffocate in the box, right? Because you wrap, right? It could, no dogs, no people, nothing that breathes, and I said also it's very inappropriate to ask for a little girl, And Henry looked at me and said, "Why? I quite like her." And I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, that's how it works.
Dad, you got a problem brewing there. I'm telling you.
Yeah,
Is
uh,
he's going to be a great ladies' man.
that's what I told my wife. I said that you really gotta keep an eye on this one.
Yeah. Well, fortunately, in your world, he won't be bringing anything home. If you had
Right.
if you had 6 girls from
Oh,
18
good
years
Lord!
old,
I don't know how people survive that.
I don't either.
I just this idea of being a guy yourself, and you know what I'm talking about.
Oh, absolutely. I remember what when I was 18 or 17 or 16 and was what I was interested in with the girls I was dating and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, just as a father, if anybody's listening to this out there has got like all girls, I'm just, my heart goes out, for you. I don't know how I'd react, to be honest with you. I can't even say the words, just like blushing here, thinking like, just like with a shotgun, I just.
Yep. And then the girls at that age, they seem to think they know everything.
Oh
And
yeah.
and then they don't listen to dad. Oh, dad, that kind of thing. And
Yeah, you have such a narrow, and
and
yeah, but
by the way, your 18-year old, when he
yeah.
gets 30, he'll think you're pretty smart again.
Oh yeah, because I noticed that happened to me.
Yeah.
I just actually I told my brother, I said that, remember when dad was always saying that, don't do what I've done, just do what I say. And he'd always be saying like, that's not how it's going to work out at all, Tom. It's just, please just listen to me. And I'd be thinking, what a bitter old man.
Yeah.
And right about now, what I feel, I feel like, he was actually 100% right 95% of the time.
Yeah.
But the thing is, it'd be so easy if I could just walk. My 18-year-old is like 20 meters from me now. If I could just walk up to his room and say that, look, here's what a relationship is like. Here's what marriage is like. This is the nitty-gritty of it. Do you want it? And he would then look at me and say that, you don't know what you're talking about. I'm not going to have a marriage like that. And then you're going to say everybody's going to have a marriage like that. It's like, you don't know what you're talking about.
Exactly.
You'd fight, right? And
Oh, yeah.
then in 20 years, you're thinking like, didn't dad talk about this? Man.
That old dude was smarter than I thought he was.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you, with your 6 kids, when you go upstairs and you produce this type of music and stuff, do they think of you as more than dad, or will you always just be dad that likes to play and write music?
I think that I'm just going to be dad who basically pesters them with music. In my house, it's kind of like, I played one of the new tunes to my 6-year-old, and he was listening to it, and a while back, and he said that, that's not very good, is it? I'm sorry, Dad. And I think this tune was Doormat, actually. You know,
Oh,
yeah, it's like that's not very good, is it? And I'm like, really? Yeah, I didn't quite like that. Can we put Ghostbusters on? You know, and I'm like, okay, yeah, we'll put Ghostbusters on. And so I don't, to them, I'm dad. I'm this lame guy, or guy who maybe doesn't cook fast enough for them when they're hungry, and so for them, I think the older one is actually listening to my old albums with Carmen Gray, and so, he's kind of exploring, he's asking questions and reading some of the old interviews that I've done, some of the new ones, and he's like, oh yeah, you actually you've done a lot, he said one day. I
oh,
said,
good.
yeah, I've written a few songs. And so he's kind of catching on, but even to him, I'm just, and these kids, the stuff they listen to these days is mostly rap anyway. And just what are you
What
gonna do?
you asked, I was just gonna say that. What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Because yeah, I can't even listen. I can't listen to rap. As a matter of fact, my youngest son, he listens to music. Remember, I don't know if they even still do it because he's 30 and in Japan right now. But the ones where they have that
Oh yeah, yeah.
whatever that is, I don't even know that was ever a genre, but he would listen to that incessantly, and it was like,
Sorry, just the idea of coming home Friday, just really tired, pouring a glass of beer, and then you're like, and feeling like, okay, I'm going back to the bar.
one
I,
one time I was driving and I didn't know he was near me, but I hear this song and it was, and it turned out to be him, and and he was playing it real loud. It's like that stuff just sucks, and of course those
yeah,
kids, you worry about them because their vocal cords are going to be gone by the time they're 20. Uh,
yeah.
or so.
I mean, maybe it's that I'm limited that way, but that was never my bag, if
No.
you know what I mean. But then again, I think music that you're not really that tuned or into it. It just every once in a while. I mean, I do. I'm sort of forced to listen to rap in the car every once in a while. Like whenever I have all the kids there, I just one rap song after another. Some of them are good, but mostly they introduce them to me like, oh, this one's really different, and I'm like, it's rap. To me, but I'm sure that's the way they feel about, you
Yeah.
know, because somebody was saying, I did one interview a couple of months ago where we talked about the possibility of rock and roll making a comeback, but I don't see it ever happening. People are, um, you know, one thing I say about rap though is that we shouldn't just be attacking rap based on the fact that it's less complex than, for example, what the Beatles did or David Bowie did, because there's a lot of repetitive rock and roll.
Hmm.
And if you think about country music, I mean, it's three chords over and over again. Somebody lost their dog, their house burned down, and the wife left. It just, my point being that rap isn't the only genre that's incredibly similar from one song to another.
One of the standard jokes that I use is because for a period of time, my life was like a bad country music song, and
I've been there too.
everybody gets that joke because that's when you think of country, you think of my dog died, my dad died, I lost my house, my wife divorced me, and all that kind of. That's because it is that way. But I'll tell you what. Can you name me a rap song from 5 years ago or beyond that you remember?
No, no.
I can't.
But
I can't think of one either.
I mean, let's face it, it's not that's not our genre though.
No,
I
but
mean, if we
yeah, go ahead.
if we were totally into rap, we'd be able to do it.
But I don't think it has staying power. That's my point. Yeah. So in any
I
event,
don't need I don't either, but I've been wrong before, so
I know I'm taking more of your time than I should again, Tommy. But um, You burn me real slow. That sounds like sounds like a song that you burn me real slow is a painful song.
Yeah, it's one of those relationship songs that we spoke about again. Because people get into these situations, and I don't think it's always, one of the things that I dislike about a lot of the blues songs, or like and dislike, is that they're very one-sided. It's somebody saying that, there's a demon woman and they're making my life a misery. Basically, that's the blues, isn't it?
Yeah.
But in reality, I think that nobody is ever forced to stay in a relationship that they don't want to stay in. It's more complex than that. And I think most of us enter these relationships with the best of intentions. I mean, nobody walks down the aisle and says things, that, we're going to do this for a couple of years, then I'm going to go off to Japan. Right. You
Right.
know, and so You Burn Me Real Slow is, I think it was John Lennon who once said that no relationship ends because of the lack of love. It's just that usually one loves more than the other, And You Burn Me Real Slow is a song like that. It's about a guy who's just crazy about this girl, who's just not that into him, and being unable to, call it quits. He just kind of keeps going, trying to win her over, even though she's, obviously dating other guys. And so in a way, really, you can blame the girl, but truth of the matter is that the protagonist is putting himself in an impossible situation, a situation where he should just, maybe turn his attention elsewhere.
I think
And
I think everybody. I know that I've been in that situation where it's like,
yeah,
well, maybe she'll just, if I do this, it'll turn her around and she'll,
yeah,
or if I buy her this, or if I take her here, or if I go kill the other guy. But no.
yeah, yeah. Oh, hey, but it'd be great if relationships work like that. But if there's this thing called chemistry, and while you might have it, or you think that you have it with someone, then if they don't have it with you, it's a one-way street. And well, that's the negative side, of relationships. The positive being, of course, that then when you truly find that one that you know both of you feel the same way, then it's great. But to be able to find that person, obviously, we do need to go through these "you burn me real slow" relationships.
Absolutely.
It just makes sure that we're not burnt to crust.
No, absolutely. My high school sweetheart from 100 million years ago, I always thought that we'd get married and be very happy. And the older I've gotten, the more I realize she had one fatal flaw, and that
What's
was
that?
that child could not be on time for. She's going to be late to her own funeral. She could not stand. She could not be on time, and that, as I've gotten older, has become my number one pet peeve. If you cannot be on time, where I worked as a bus driver, if you were 59 seconds late, you lost your shift, you got written up, and 3 of those, and you got fired. So it's, you got to be on time and stuff like that. But she was always late. I would have killed her eventually. So that would. But
Yeah, but I mean, incompatibility. And these are so important. When you're growing up and you're in your teens and you're a kid, you don't understand. You just, you go somewhere, you think, oh, she looks good. She'll
yeah,
be my wife.
yeah,
And nowadays, when I even think about the word wife, what it entails for me, I there's two words that I don't use lightly, or it just mom is one, because that's and wife is the other. They're kind of like sacred words, and to take those words and try to force them on somebody who really lots of times really don't deserve them, from your perspective. Of course, they might, then meet somebody else and there's chemistry and compatibility, but those words, they're big words, and whenever you make somebody your wife, I think if you're smart enough, which young guys normally aren't, there are so many things that have to just kind of
yeah.
be, just perfect in a way.
Robin Williams had the best line that I've ever heard about the state of being a young man, and that is that God gave us two heads, but only blood enough to run one at a time.
Yeah, that's it.
So-
That's it. Hey, we've that's it's so it's basically like a blood man.
It is. So we get excited about a pretty gal, and we can overlook damn near anything if she's pretty
for
enough.
a while, and then it gets old, and then we move on. But I mean, I wish I could change that, but that's evolution. It's the way world has worked for a long time. Tom Tikka is not going to be able to do anything about that, so I write these songs instead.
Which is great. So I've kept you long enough. I'm not going to make you sit here any longer because you've got kids. And
I got to go back. Yeah, it's true.
It's time for what time is it there?
Oh, it's past 10.
Oh, you got to put kids to bed and all that kind of stuff. So
absolutely,
it's been great to see you again. I'm going to play that song on our way out, but it's in January. No, damn it, there's always something. You're doing a compilation album with other artists that's coming out in January?
Yeah, that's right. And this track is well, I really, it was one of those things that came through the label. And there's a couple of big names like Guns N' Roses and so forth, and my song's among those. So yeah, I don't know how Michael was able to swing it, but luckily he was. And luckily also the song got accepted on the album, which is sort of a very cool thing. So
which song?
You Burn Me Real Slow.
Awesome. That's what we're going to play right now.
Yeah.
And Tom, thank you very much. Will you come back in January when that?
I definitely will, man. Just send me an email. I'll be here. Or
you got
here, in cyberspace.
Yeah. When we get to the point where it's close to being released, I want to highlight that.
Okay. Very cool. Very cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So Tom Tikka has been our guest. If you want to go see or hear his music, where's the best place for them to go hear your music?
It's all on Spotify and iMusic or Apple Music. I think those are the best places. And the videos are on YouTube, music videos. But yeah, Spotify is probably the best place. That's Do you sell CDs from do you have a website that you sell CDs from? I have a website, and I've wondered if I should put the CDs on sale there, but haven't yet.
Well, when you get around to doing that, let me know, and we'll because that's a great way for you to keep more of the profits. And you need
true, yeah,
would be very helpful. So Tom Tikka has been our guest, and I want to thank you again. At least goes so fast. And
too fast, man. Thanks for having me on the show. It's always a treat.
And tell your kids they got a hell of a dad.
Will do. They'll probably go like, well, somebody should talk to Kevin.
Now, when they get all grown up, they'll look back and go, he was right. Damn, he was smarter than I thought. I gave him credit for. So
hey, I'll drink to that because I know that part will be true.
Have a great day and enjoy the rest of your night, young man.
Yeah, you too, man. See ya.
This is Burn Me. You burn me real slow.
That's right.
Take care. We'll see you next time.
See ya.
I got your lines. I know your story.
Hey, and thanks for listening to this episode all the way to the end. Hey, pretty cool. Hey, don't forget to follow us so you can receive regular updates and new posts. And remember, take care of each other because each other's all we've got. See you next time on My Independence Report.